Hey, you clicked on this video because you are not a content creator. You are meant to be a content creator, though. And what I mean by that is simply that what we are given to create, what we are given, when we have this creative urge to express ourselves, be it through our voice or, whatever type of artistry or content, you want to share and are meant to share with the world. Nowadays, it's so easy to refer to ourselves as or think that we need to be creating content and flooding the internet with our content, YouTube or Instagram or TikTok with our content. And we're really in such a time now, as today marks the official Lunar New Year. We just stepped now as a collective into, with that being said, the year of the fire horse. And we're really in such a time now where it's going to get really, really clear who is what kind of a leader. And, what is the intention behind your influencing? Because if you're an influencer, if you are flooding out or just putting out, creative content, you're influencing, and therefore you are a leader of some sort. You're connected to something, or your leader, you're leading, you're influencing is connected to something that is more than just you, but what it is that you're connected to, what you stand for, what you believe. And sometimes we are intentionally or consciously aware of that, hopefully all the time, most of the time. And other times we're not, or some of us are not. And that's going to become very, very apparent this year, especially as we step into this year of the fire horse, this Jupiter moving into Leo in, I think, around June or July. It's going to become very apparent who is what kind of a leader. What are you connected to in terms of your belief in your faith? Who are you governed by? And how connected are you to your heart when you are showing up and out into the world? Are you content with what it is that you are creating? Or are you simply a content creator because this world, this social program says that is trending and that is what you should be doing? You guys, I really do at this time come on here so intentionally and not come on here intentionally as well, because the thing is that not everything that we are given, right, so generously by God, so generously by divine, is meant to be shared with the world or very many people outside of ourselves, or that those in which, inhabit our same household. Some things are simply prophesied for us to root ourselves into and anchor our creativity, our really being on assignment, right, for divine, for God, and watching it unfold, unravel, play out on its own without us leaking out what it is that we received in a dream, or what it is that we received intuitively or as a download, or from being a channel, right? And I do believe that our artistry, our creative expression is another way in which God speaks through us. And it is so intentional and it is so with great purpose that God gives us the gifts, talents, skills, creative inclinations that God does. Because it is all meant to serve the collective. It is all meant to serve your legacy. It is all meant to serve something much greater and bigger than you alone, than me alone, than us as individuals alone. So understand now that, especially like I said, mentioning earlier here with Jupiter moving into Leo around June or July this year, that you're going to have to, with that Leo energy, the fire energy, really, that we're fire era we're in now, you're going to have to really connect to your heart and become very content with being so generously blessed by the Lord, by God, to even be a creator. You're going to have to be so content with what it is that you receive and the fact that you are receiving the creative inclination that you are. It is so much deeper than getting it out into the world with this, you could say it's instant gratification. It is, if you're going to pay attention to, being rewarded by the world, then you're not, most likely not really content at heart. You're really most likely not satisfied or grateful, or even praying over, you could say here, speaking life over what it is that you are creating, that it touches, if you're going to put it out into the world, that it touches, that it impacts those, and it comes into the fields of awareness of those people, those beings, those individuals, those places and spaces that are ready to fully receive it and use it, that need to hear it, that need to see it, because it's going to do something for them in furthering their lives and their conviction to create from a place of contentment and purpose that is so much more beyond social conditioning, what Western culture says should be, our priority now. And I really and truly do believe that if you are calling yourself a content creator, if you're intending to be one, that you better get with God. I don't know how else to say it. I gotta keep it real. You have to get with God. You better get with divine. You better have such an anchor that keeps you in place when, or afloat really, when the waves and, the tide gets rocky. It gets rocky or it gets rough, because it will. That's life. That comes with being on this plane, this earth school, right, that you're in, that your soul enrolled in. And you're going to have to now, going forward, you should already be anyway, but God is merciful and God is faithful, and there's, always a chance for you to redeem that, for all of us to redeem that. And this is the year, this is the time, if you haven't yet, to really redeem that mercy, to really redeem that faith on your assignment, and being so intentional, being so purposeful about, and when I say assignment, I'm talking about your artistry, I'm talking about your being a creator, I'm talking about you being an influencer, right, a leader, That's a part of your assignment, your purpose, you could say, that you have been given, gifted, really. And we're going to really notice, those of us who are with God, we're going to be able to really see, if you're putting yourself here on the internet, availing yourself to the public eye, we're going to be able to really see and discern if you truly indeed are a content creator. How close are you in your relationship with divine and with being governed by something greater than social programming or conditioning? And what is your why, your intention, your reason behind creating and sharing the content? And it's going to be really loud. It's not going to be something that, we have to point out, those of us who are, discerning, who have such discernment, right? Because we have relationship to God and divine, something greater than this 3D earthly experience, the natural. Everything comes through the spirit and then reaches here in the natural world anyway. But you better believe that there is a spiritual order before natural order takes place. The spiritual is influencing the natural, not necessarily the other way around. But yes, your decisions that you make in the natural will intervene, that's the best word I could use, with what has already been written in the spiritual. And when I say intervene, to give you an example, being on an assignment as an artist, you're being on an assignment as a content creator, an influencer, a leader, right? Really, here on the internet as one of your sources, to share what it is that you're being given creatively is going to be influenced already, ordered by the spiritual world, right? As I stated here, because the spirit is assigning you, the spirit is gifting the assignment of artistry, of wealth. And what you choose and decide to do and how you act on that here in the natural world of the 3D, right, human realm and experience is going to intervene, aka delay or speed up, what is happening in terms of the order in the spirit realm and what has already been decided there, right? And, really and truly, there's nothing to fear when I say that. None of this is to put fear into your heart, into your mind. This is meant to support you in getting anchored. Okay, like I said, getting anchored, by connecting with the God that is indeed inaccessible and available to you. Whether that is the word, whether that is prayer, whether that is meditation, nature, or all the things. Anchor yourself so that you can be content and recognize that it is a gift, that it is generous of divine, that you landed here in this place, in this body, in this vessel, and have the creative inclination that you do. And that it is so much greater than, it's not even for you. You will indeed reap benefit and reward, from creating the things and sharing it and touching and impacting lives, right? That you don't even know. But you have to understand that it's reward enough. You should be content enough within a knowing, having an awareness that you are godly made and that you are making such an impact that is greater than just you and your life being overflowed with blessings, material especially. Think about being content because you know that somebody's in your comments sharing a testimony about what it is that you are describing or what it is that you created and put out, and how they relate to it so much because of something that they experienced or are experiencing right now in their life as they viewed that, as they heard that song that you made and put out. You must go forth in being a content creator, not a content creator. Okay, life is full of content. Of course, obviously, right? But are you content that you get to press record and say the things or write the things and put it in front of billions of people who will be touched by it, who will choose, because they were touched by it, to do something that they had conviction to do or create? And then that domino effect, that ripple effect, and touch others with what they do, and so on and so forth. Are you content in that knowing? Because I promise you that there is so much more reward in that contentment, just from you being content and you're expressing it. Thank you, God, for this gift. Thank you, God, for giving me this seed to plant and the tools, the strength to nurture and water it consistently and put it out into the world. I tell you, that alone will bring so much more overflow, abundance. Even if you just want more views, okay, more subscribers, all right, more listeners, okay, and not necessarily money. You can have all of that, both, absolutely. But it will really arrive because you see it in the impact. You see it in the fact that it's generous of God to give you the creative inclination anyway. And not that you see it because of the money that you hold in your hand that came from all of it. Or the 1 million views that you got on the TikTok video. Or that you didn't and you only got 10 and you just, why didn't I get the million? You must see it and be content as a creator prior to the rest, the harvest. We are in the year of the fire horse. It's all about heart, connection to what you are doing, creating, being on a daily basis throughout your day. We are not in the year of the work horse, just producing on autopilot because society said you should. Be a content creator. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you soon.